Hey friends, it's Kelsey. This is Essentially Book. Thank you for stopping by my channel today. And the lighting is bad because I'm filming this at night because it's just the time I have and I've lost my voice. We've been fighting flu A in our house, so it's super fun. But I am just going to talk because it's Vlogmas, so these aren't going to be long videos. But today I want to talk about where I got my reading inspiration this year because I have been in a reading slump and like the whole of 2025 has just been weird for reading for me. It's just not my typical reading year, and I've been very distracted by my phone, frankly. So one of my 2026 goals has got to be cutting down that screen time. So with the fact that I've been so distracted by social media, it has impacted my reading and what I've wanted to read. I have found literary has been really hard for me to focus on lately. There's been some really good TV in 2025 too that I've gotten pretty distracted by. Stranger Things, Heated Rivalry, The Pit. I watched The Newsroom this year, but my focus just hasn't been there. And so with that, I've kind of taken a step back from reading per se, but I've also been more mindful about what I'm listening to, or I've been paying more attention to the things that I listen to that are bookish or watch that are bookish. And I wanted to talk about the podcast and the media that I consume that gives me book recommendations and has helped me kind of figure out more what I like or helped guide my reading this year. So that's what this is going to be. So I've talked about this many a times, but I'm a member of the Modern Mrs. Darcy book club and I love that book club. It's every month they pick a book and I've been a member since 2017. So I am probably maybe I've read half the books this year that she suggested, but there's so many classes that they do. And I can go back to past years and if I read a book from a past year, I can still watch the author chat. So I will say that Anne Bogle, the Modern Mrs. Darcy book club, and her podcast, What Should I Read Next, along with all the content that comes with the book club has been very helpful for me. It's taught me how to journal, how to talk about reading. One of the things that I really like is she does her summer reading guide every summer and it's fantastic. It is so worth the money. But then she'll also do a fall preview, a spring preview of books. And so I usually start there when I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to read. And it's just been, for years now, that's been my primary resource. So it's Modern Mrs. Darcy, the summer reading guide has helped me a ton. I'm going to lose my voice during this video. And then other podcasts that I listen to. So I'm a big fan of the Currently Reading podcast. I've been a patron for that for years too. I just really they talk about such a wide variety of books. So does Modern Mrs. Darcy, because with the team of people that make up these podcasts, their Patreon is really great because they actually support indie bookstores through it. And so every month they do the indie press list, and a bookstore that they partner with will recommend 5 books. So that's been a really fun way to broaden the new releases or books that I might have missed. It's just really fun. And they pick really diverse bookstores. So that's always been really fun is some months I don't jive with the bookstore, but other months I do. And my local indie is Dog-Eared Books. They're up in Ames, Iowa, so it's not technically my local indie, but they're close enough. They were picked this year. And they're a big book recommendation source for me too. So Currently Reading, they have now a All Things Murderful podcast with Elizabeth from Fabled Bookstore. They're another really great bookstore to follow that I find I read closely to. And so that's been really fun. I usually try to catch their book previews because they'll launch or explain books that are coming out. They have a really good subscription, as does Dog-Eared Books, if you're looking to step away from Book of the Month, which I did this year. And they're hand selected. Fabled has more choices because you can do different themes, but Dog-Eared Books does a literary one, and then they have a romance one and I think a kid one. So those are also, those 3 things. Currently Reading, the bookstores that I just mentioned, those are big resources for me. Other podcasts that I listen to are From the Front Porch by Annie B. Jones. I just love her. And I love when her and Hunter talk. So Hunter is one of her friends, but her new release rundown and then her monthly wrap-ups are usually huge for me. And then I love her Years in Review. I don't really consume much other content, but I do read really similarly to Annie. So the books that she gives 5 stars to, I tend to really enjoy too. I think Hazel Says No was from her podcast, and that book blew me out of the water, which I'll talk about that later in wrap up. So that, and then Sarah's Bookshelves Live is another one. I don't find myself reading a lot of the books that they talk about or being drawn to the books, but I do like some of the conversations she has on her podcast. So she'll bring in authors. And so I don't read closely to them, but I like what that invites into my life as far as like book discourse. I don't read similarly to her, but like just some of the authors she's brought in have been so good, and it's just fun to hear authors talk. And then my final bookish podcast, which is like bookish, it is book industry, but it's Book Riot. And really this is more publishing trends and the discussion of the publishing world and media and just in general. And it gives me like a really good understanding of like why books are getting published or why we're seeing this book launch or this book have such an explosive debut, whereas this one didn't. Book Riot as a whole is a really good recommendation source, I think, for people. So if you haven't checked out their website, I totally would, because they have like a plethora of resources, very diverse, fantastic. But those are really my podcasts that I'm very podcast heavy. So I listen to podcasts more than audiobooks most of the time. And those podcasts have really helped shape my reading and like fine tune what I'm into, what I like, etc. Some of the YouTubers that I really follow are like Books and Lala is a huge one for me. Becca, Books and Jams, Lindsay and Sarah. Put all these people below because I'm totally blanking. Jordan. There's just a lot of booktubers. Honestly, a lot of my YouTube content this year has been like gardening and homesteading, which is really funny because I'm not a trad wife, but I do love to garden and preserve. So my I was going to use my YouTube year in review to like do this video, but I'm not, because it's literally like canning and baking videos, and that's not the point of this. So those are kind of all the resources that I've pulled from this year that have really stood out for me and helped me kind of discern and fine tune my reading. If you have other resources that you've really liked, I drop them in the comments, because I'm always willing to check stuff out, because it is fun to like consume bookish content regardless. But I've learned a lot about myself this year in my year of like kind of having a pretty massive reading slump. So until the next video, everybody, good night.